Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to That's Football. We're live for Nottingham Forest against Manchester City in the race for third place. Who would have thought we would have been saying that at the start of the season in mid-March, that Nottingham Forest are ahead of Manchester City out of Europe, out of a title race, and now fighting for top four. Massive game. And certainly a very interesting one. And it's live, says Greg Donald. Yes, it is. Don't forget to get your tickets for our Dublin live show. International break on the Wednesday night. It's going to be great. Love to see some of you there. But let's have a look at the lineups here today. Because we have got, obviously, Nottingham Forest are at home. Let me get Sells in goal. Anana, Milinkovic, Murillo, Williams, Dominguez, Anderson, Gibbs-White, Alanga, Hudson-Odoi and Wood. And then Man City, Edison, Nunez, Kushinov, Diaz, Vardiel, Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Savinho, Doku and Haaland. De Bruyne on the bench again. Jack Grealish on the bench. I mean, I thought Jack Grealish was on the piss. I thought he was injured. No, I mean, look at this bench. Look at Man City's bench. De Bruyne, Grealish, Gundogan, Kovacic, Mamouche. I mean, that's a bloody bench, isn't it? I mean, I'd take all of them at Man United. Every bloody one of them. What a bloody bench. That is incredible. Better than a pub bench, that. Absolutely brilliant. Love that. I can't knock it. It's good. It's very good. Have you seen the Snapchat stories from Fulham? No, haven't, mate. You have to let us know what that's all about. Most of those players on the bench are washed, says AU. And Jab says, good afternoon from South Africa. Wherever you're watching, you're very, very welcome. And I am doing the 3 o'clocks today. I wasn't going to, but a lot of people have said, can you watch the Sidemen charity game and do a watch along as well? So I am. And I'm also going to keep an eye on the 3 o'clocks like the Liverpool-Southampton game. So we will be live at 3 o'clock as well. I'll set that up in a moment. I think the most important thing about this game, though, into real football, is the race for top 4 or 5. I think it's become very clear. I did a video this week that we will be in a situation where I think the top 5 will get Champions League football. Forest and Man City in the box seat at the moment, but it's not a comfortable seat. Really, when you think about it, Forest could easily start dropping points, and they're only, they're only 4 points ahead of Newcastle in 6th. So they've been in. I mean, I don't know the statistics of this, but they must have been in the top 4 for at least, certainly 3 months, I would say. So are they going to drop out in this race that's about to take place for the top 4? I mean, their next game next week is against Leicester. No, not Leicester. Who've they got next week? They've got Ipswich away next week. So if they could get a result here, they'd probably be thinking about Ipswich away next week getting a result, and that'd be a good, strong 6 points. Man City have got Brighton next after this, and then after the international break, Forest entertain United, should be an easy 3 points there. City entertain Leicester. So City probably heading into some relatively straightforward fixtures, but it's going to be very competitive. Villa play Forest on Saturday the 5th of April as well. I just think the race for top 5 is going to be the most interesting race in the Prem this year. I think the relegation race, as many of us have predicted, was over at the start. And I think the title race is over now as well. So let's. What a game, though! What a game! A lot of people are saying that. Yes. Let's see how it pans out. But what did I go with it? I mean, I'm behind to Robbie and win, lose or draw anyway. But I'm pretty sure. I think I said a City win, didn't I? I think Robbie said a draw. We do win, lose or draw on a Friday on this channel, by the way. Robbie from AFTV and me. I think I said. I think I said a City win. I think I did. And I think he said a draw. So, yeah. 7:30 in the morning for me. Good morning from Eastern USA. And yes, lads, UTV says, hello, Mark. Not confident tonight. We're not good away, especially after Champions League. Robbie definitely went with the Brentford win. I went with a draw in that one. Are you doing a watch along for the charity match, Mark? Says a ditch it. Yes, I need to actually set that up while I'm live here. So I will do that while we're live. City Ground. Have I ever been? Why have they got that box in the corner as well, like Bournemouth? They're having a great season, and you know, a lot of people say things about Nottingham and inbreds. I was born there, so I think that answers your question. I don't really have an affiliation to Forest, despite rumours from jealous YouTubers, no. But I'd be very, very happy if Bournemouth or Forest or Brighton or Fulham got top 5. I actually would like to see that happen over Manchester City, definitely. But I think City might. I just think City are going to finish the season quite strongly. I just have this theory that less games, no midweek games, pressure's off. People have sort of written them off as a shit season. Look at Chelsea last year. Towards the end of the season last year, Chelsea actually finished quite well, didn't they? So I think Man City will finish quite well. And they're capable of getting a result, Forest. But I've got to be honest, if I said to you in the chat, who are the what Premier League teams have you not watched the most this season? And it's shameful, really, but I would say certainly Forest. Definitely the bottom 3. I don't hardly ever watch them because I just felt they were going down from the start. And what's the league table? Yeah, I'd say Forest and the bottom 3 are probably the teams I watch the least, if I'm being honest. I try not to watch Everton as well. Yes, lads, yeah, because I just find them quite boring, really. Palace, I've seen quite a bit Spurs way. I don't watch Spurs much, actually. I mean, I have watched Spurs, but I very rarely watch Leicester or Ipswich or Southampton or Forest or Everton. Very rarely. I wouldn't make a point of it if they're playing Man United, basically. But I'm going to go for a City win in this game. And they've started off on the front foot and good defending. I mean, that's the thing that Forest have got. Very good centre-backs. I'm not saying they're Gabriel and Saliba or Van Dijk and Konate, but you definitely put them in the top 5 centre-back. I mean, controversial hot take. Best 3 centre-back pairings in the Premier League. Gabriel Saliba, Konate Van Dijk, Murillo Milenkovic. Fight me. Ade says, are you not managing the Sidemen charity match? Yeah, literally going to get a jet at about 2:30. Jet in, parachute in like James Bond for about 2:45. And yeah, give the team news. No, Chip's in charge. I sent him a message last night. Wished him all the best. YouTube All-Stars all the way. And hopefully they can do it. I am going to be doing Liverpool against Southampton, Sam, but it's going to be a double watch-along. Yeah, I'm going to watch the Sidemen game and that game. So, yeah, we'll do both of those. In fact, I'm going to set it up in a minute. But Forest have got a corner here. Coffee says, so the top 3 centre-back pairings are the top 3 teams in the league. Well, yeah, you're bloody well done. I didn't mean that, but is there a correlation? Obviously there is. Strong defence matters. Jeff says, I watch every team twice. He'll never walk alone because he watches the Liverpool games. Redknapp or Warnock, Mark, in relation to what? Managers, Redknapp, Sully. Better brand of football. You can't put a Man United... Jack says, what about Yoro and De Ligt? You can't put a Man United centre-back pairing in the top 3 in the Premier League when we're not even in the top 10. I suppose this game is more about how bad Man City are. I mean, I still look at them and say, surely. Yeah, get well soon, Stuart Pearce, by the way. Apparently he was flying back from somewhere and they had to reroute because he had chest pains. England legend I grew up on. Well, the Pearce miss in 1990, the redemption in 96. You know what? Talking about players... the way Angry Ginge plays football, left footer, reminds me of Stuart Pearce. You've got to be of a certain age, but the way he runs and tackles does remind me of him. Not that he would know. I mean, he wouldn't have even been bloody born. But yes, let's keep an eye on this game. Of course, that's what we're here to do. Just thinking about that. Okay. Yeah, Man City's just knocking the ball about at the back here. That's not going to be something that's going to bother the Forest team too much. They're very much. I think they're a hard watch, and not like that. I think they're a hard watch, Forest, because they are very much the antichrist, the antidote to possession football, aren't they? They're very much defend well, counter quick. And look, they're third in the league with it. And I actually think that there's nothing wrong with that. You might not enjoy watching it, but I actually think that in football, you should be in a position where, you know, there are different styles of football. And I think everybody plays so... That's not handball. Everybody plays so many different brands of football these days, don't they? Sorry, everybody plays sort of the same brand of football these days. Still got the FA Cup, Man City as well. Are they really YouTube All-Stars if you're not involved, says Q-Diz. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the support. You have to be able to play to your strengths as a club. Yes, you do, Philip. You do. Rio Ferdinand on commentary again. He just wants to be Gary Neville. You know the problem with Rio Ferdinand is, and is it a problem? He wants to be Gary Neville, so he wants to have a big popular podcast. He wants to co-commentate, but he also wants to be KSI. He wants to be a massive YouTuber as well. And you can't do it. Malusi is laughing about Antichrist football. Yeah, I'm not saying that Nottingham Forest style of play is Antichrist football. I mean, that could be the word of 2025. It was low IQ and what was the wording last year that I used to use? Yeah, Antichrist football. I can't see it taking off. But yeah. No, I think Rio Ferdinand's a crap co-commentator, but I think he's quite a insecure person, and I think he's very egotistical. And I think he looks at someone like Gary Neville and he's like, I want to be like Gary Neville. I want to be a co-commentator. I want to be massively successful. But I mean, here we go. Oh, just wide by Haaland. But the bottom line is, I just don't think he's a very good commentator. But that's my opinion. Your opinion might be very, very different. Right, I've just set this up now. Hopefully it's going to be working. Next. I was just setting up the 3 o'clock stream. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so I've set it up. Liverpool versus Southampton and Sidemen charity match. Watch along at 3 o'clock. Be fun. Seb wants to watch it. He's team Sidemen. I've said, you what? I don't know why he's team Sidemen. So it'll be quite fun. If he can come in for the stream, I'm sure you won't mind. He said what did he say to me? Which team is Red Ginge playing for? I said, who's Red Ginge? He said, you know, or is it Orange Ginge? I said, don't let him hear you say that, or Chris Evans, they'll go mad. But no, he wants to watch it, so he's team Sidemen. But I said, but you like Mr. Beast. And he's on Sidemen team, isn't he? And he says, oh, maybe I'll be YouTube All-Stars then because he's rubbish at football. I said, fair play. It's not about how good they are at football, it's about the views. Where do you think Forest will finish, as they could fall out of the top 4 this weekend? And can Man City catch Arsenal? And where do Man United finish? Lots of questions from the Dugout Football channel. Hope you're doing well. I don't think Forest will finish in the top 5. But they've been defying logic all season. Can Man City catch Arsenal? I don't think they will. I think Arsenal and Liverpool are the 2 best teams in the league. Where do Man United finish? I actually don't care. You know, when you go below 9th, who gives a toss? I think when you go below 9th, as long as you don't get relegated, who gives a shit? United fan says, why didn't you get an invite? What a bunch of prats the Sidemen are. I did get an invite from YouTube to go to the game. And Carling have got a box and they invited me as well. But I think when you've been involved, to go and be like it's a brilliant event. I loved being involved, and it's amazing what they do, and they can do what they've got every. Look, there's loads of people like Jacksepticeye, Gideon. They're not involved this year. Billy Wingrove. So it's absolutely fine that it changes, but I didn't really want to go and watch it. In the sense of going, I'll watch it whilst doing this with you lot. What I'm trying to say is, and this is what I do with the United stand, I like going to games, but I'd rather sit and watch it and interact with you lot than just go and sit and watch it on my own, basically. I'm not a side man. I don't sit on the side. No one puts Baby in the corner. No one puts Goldbridge in the corner. Mohammed says, start bench. Sorry, in relation to the game, it's very timid at the moment. Forest doing exactly what it says on the tin. They're playing very compact and well organised, and they're going to be hard to break down, looking to counter. Mohammed says, start, bench, sell, Anana, Cal the Dragon, XQC. You know what? I watched back the last Sidemen game. I watched it back last night with a couple of beers, crying, shouting. No, I didn't really. I just quickly watched the highlights, and I didn't realise it was 2-2 at half-time. I sort of wiped it from the memory. I mean, we lost 8-5, but it was 2-2 at half-time, and we were 6-3 down within about 5 minutes. And the 3 goals we conceded, my puppy would have saved them. So, but he's on the Sidemen team today. He's probably been having goalkeeping practice for 18 months. Hi Mark, great show. Please can you predict Bernardo Silva not to score, as I've got £50 on him to score, returning £275. If he scores, I will give 5 memberships, says Andy. Andy, I will tell you this now. You are an absolute genius if you get that right. I actually think Cal the Dragon's a good goalkeeper. I would say out of Anana, Cal the Dragon and XQC, Cal Dragon's the first. Then Anana, then XQC. Because I just think in the first Sidemen charity game, he was my goalkeeper. I think he was nervous because I've done a couple of... cross comes in. No, Edison's got that. I've done a couple of other videos with Cal the Dragon, football challenges, and he ain't terrible in goal. He's not. He's a decent goalkeeper, but I just think in that match, I think the nerves got the better of him really. Hi Mark, thank you very much for the good questions coming in. Do you think Kevin De Bruyne is the best Premier League midfielder of all time? This is Hassan. Only if Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard, and Yaya Toure are playing golf. That for me, I think those. What about? In fact, I'm an idiot. What about Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira? No. I think Kevin De Bruyne puts himself in the debate, but I don't put him. No, I don't. I really don't. Keane and Vieira were brilliant, and I think Yaya Toure doesn't get the respect and this is what chuff monsters do. Like I think as a fan of football, I never liked Mourinho at Chelsea because I was scared of Mourinho at Chelsea. So when he left, I'll put my hands up and say, you know, I said I don't like him and he's crap. It's because I was scared of him. Same about Drogba. Didn't like Drogba, but when he left, I put my hand up and go, God, it's because they're a problem for you. And the only player really, Yaya Toure scared me. And I know it only really happened for it felt like a shorter period of time than De Bruyne, but someone might say it was 5 years. But Yaya Toure, when he was on it, he was just so powerful from the midfield, and he could play every midfield position. Good show! Oh, I tell you what. I thought it was Bernardo Silva for a minute. It wasn't. Andy Atherton was getting excited. It was a good shot, and it was just wide. And it's Gonzalez who hit it, number 14. Do you think... good question, though, from Hassan. All Stars have Sketch in goal, which is even worse, as the Spurs way. I'm looking forward to it. I think there'll be some good moments in it. I'm sure they've got a few, Uno cards and things planned. I actually think the managers being on the same podcast will allow for a little bit of comedy and interaction as well. I mean, I like Billy Wingrove, but there was no relationship there for us to have a bit of banter and stuff. So I think that'll work well as well. I think Chris MD and Theo are the best 2 technical players on the pitch. They're on the YouTube All-Stars team. I think Angry Ginge is the best defender on the pitch. He's on the YouTube All-Stars team. But what the Sidemen have got is 7 players that have been together for 10 years who play together and have chemistry. And as you know, it's a bit like the Galacticos, isn't it? You can have the best players, but it's the players that have chemistry that matter. And that's applicable to every game of football. Forest on the attack. Gibbs White goes wide. Good game this now. And that'll go for a throw-in. Thank you very much, Hassan. Mark, you were meant to be a goalkeeper versus Sidemen, says Rudy. No, mate, what I said is I'd like to go in goal, but I've not heard anything from the Sidemen since the last game, so I was never meant to be involved in anything. Leicester had Wood, Kane and Vardy in 2013-14, says Tanishk. And Sully says, I'm heading into Boston with a friend later to go to a wonderful Irish pub called The Druid and then get a few kebabs. Hope everyone else has a great day, says Sully. Can't wait to be in Dublin a week and a half, actually. Wednesday night, the 19th of March, in Temple Bar. If you come into the show, get yourself into Temple Bar about 4. Get yourself in some of the local bars, Irish, Guinness, the lot. It's going to be, I just can't wait. Weather's going to be good as well. Olympia Theatre, right in the middle of Temple Bar. Got Danny from The Script on. The lead singer of The Script, he's going to be there. And yeah, look, I know it's 10 years of United Stand, but to be honest with you, it's not really massively. There's a bit about United, but it's more of it's going to be a good night. So if you want to get yourself along, scan the QR code. Paul Rice says Temple Bar is a scam. Venture outside Temple Bar for slightly cheaper pints. Yeah, if you want to go cheaper pints, just venture. I mean, there's a pub everywhere in Dublin, but what I'm saying is, if you got cash on the hip, the bars in Temple Bar are a good laugh. You get all the they're a good atmosphere. Why couldn't you get Noel Gallagher? Oh, the Gallaghers are bottlers when they want to talk about football, though, aren't they? Good band, but cowards when it comes to having a football chat. Hi, Mark. Would the best Premier League midfielders include Lampard, says Scouser. Look, I respect Lampard. I do respect Lampard. And there's no doubt he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. But I don't put him there, really. Are you going to do an F1 watch-along next week, says Tanishk? I sort of want to, but it's so early in the morning. I'm not sure I will. Patrick Lynch says, I meant to ask on the United Stand, will the live show be recorded and available to United Stand members? Unfortunately, can't make the show. I'm not involved in the production, but it would be great if it does get recorded and we would put it on the members section, yeah. That's what we have done traditionally, Patrick. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. I'm more about the creative. So we've got a little quiz section where it's called I've Played the Game. And you'll know when you're there what I mean, because I basically ripped a very popular quiz show and changed it a little bit. So instead of calling it the popular TV quiz show, I'm going to call it I've Played the Game. So basically, I'm going to take 2 aspects from 2 very popular quiz shows, and I'm then going to call it I've Played the Game, because you people will be familiar. But I've got 300 euros to give away on the night in cash if somebody can win the prize. So it's going to be good fun. Dorgu suspended until April the 1st. Yeah, he can't play tomorrow. How high do you rate Pedri? I don't watch La Liga, Rex, so I'm never going to lie to people. I know who Pedri is. He's a footballer who plays for Barcelona in Spain, and I have seen him, but I don't watch it enough to start going how I rate him this highly or that. I'm looking forward to watching more of them in the latter stages of the Champions League. Villa fan living in Dublin for the past 4 years. Where's your favourite patch for a Guinness? Have one on me, says Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. Thanks for your super chat. Not sure your €6 would cover a pint of Guinness in Temple Bar, but I'd certainly get one in Sinnets. My patch was Stephen's Green. I used to work around there, so break for the border, I don't think it's there anymore. But a Friday night for me would be get yourself down to Sinnets for a quick one, then Hairy Lemon, and then across into break for the border until about 3 o'clock in the morning and get the night link home. And the great thing about Dublin was, and they probably have it in other places, but they had these buses that went all around every hour. So you could get a bus at like 4 o'clock in the morning home. I'm doing a watch-along for the Sidemen charity match at 3 o'clock. Yeah, yes, Mickey, it's set up. I just need to do a redirect, actually. So still 0-0 after 20 minutes here. And I think Forest will be the happier team. they've certainly been, you know, very hard to break down in this first 20 minutes. Thanks for all your questions. Any other watch-alongs after this one, Mark, says Nathan? Yeah, 3 o'clocks I'll be covering, but I'm also going to watch the Sidemen game as well, so I'll double screen it. Oh, don't worry. I'm not managing, so I can be completely harsh. Joe Weller, they'd have been better off with Paul Weller. Change him, man. That's very Britpop niche. Bet you could pull on the bus potentially. I used to just fall asleep, FPL. Jem says, do you do live shows for That's Football? I sort of feel like if you like That's Football, you'd like the live show anyway. I mean, the first 20 minutes is not really about United. It's general football sort of stuff. Who's your favourite Premier League player this season? Good question. I think Isak's been very good. Let's have a look at the Premier League table. That always helps me. Isak's been good. Clivert at Bournemouth. I think that... I don't want to say a Liverpool player, really. Chris Wood at Forest deserves a shout-out, doesn't he? I think. I wouldn't say there's a player that's really stood out for me. The thing that I will praise the Premier League for this year is I've just loved the league, which is amazing. And it just goes to show, even though you've got a predictable relegation battle, you can still have a really good league. And I think the Premier League, I predicted that Liverpool were going to win it in December and that Arsenal were out the title race in November. And I've been proved right. But what I've loved about this Premier League is that it has been very, very, very competitive. And I think that's been evidenced by the race for the top 5. So many teams can beat each other. So, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Tanishk. Thanks for your super chats. Tell you what. Talking about Guinness. Guinness Zero has to be the best non-alcoholic drink in the world. I mean, it's incredible. The amount of times I go out now and people are drinking Guinness Zero. I mean, you're not getting any alcohol, but the taste is very close. It's really good. I mean, I've tried I've tried non-alcoholic lagers. They just don't do it. And don't even try it with cider. But Guinness Zero is really good. They should sponsor us, yeah. They'll be too busy sponsoring bloody the Garys, won't they? I don't think they'd ever do non-alcoholic whiskey, to be fair. 22 minutes gone. 0-0. Forest Man City. But you know what? Robbie's probably going to get this right with a draw. Because is this not a testament to the drop-off of Man City and the consistent excellence of Forest this year? I write Forest off all the time and say they'll definitely drop. And I overhype Man City and say they're going to click at some point. And they don't. Forest don't drop off and Man City don't click. Ron says YouTube All-Stars without Mark is like pizza without toppings. You know what, mate? It's done. It's for charity. That reminds me, I need to get the link. And it'll be fun. You know what? It'll be fun doing a watch along for it because I'll be able to say exactly what I think and it won't matter. So I'm actually looking forward to just sitting back this afternoon, watching it. And you know what? Being the manager in these charity games, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. It's frustrating, especially when you want to play. So I'm actually looking forward to just watching it. And, you know, some of them, as I said, there's some players in it that I think could play at quite a high level. And then there's a lot of players in it that play at such a low level, I genuinely think my dead uncle could play better than them. And I mean low level, underground, dead. So it should be good. Most skillful player in the Prem, JJ Okocha, Adel, Tarabat or Nani? I'll go Okocha, mate. I loved Okocha. King Clancy, always think about those two. What was the guy at Bolton as well? I don't think he was as consistent. Was it Illich? And we used to get these players. Poppy says Goldstein was fishing for his for an invite from his show. You'd probably be able to get him one in the OAP section. I mean, you know, the guy makes me laugh. Trying to act like he's a bloody Britpop lead singer. He's been doing it for 40 years. No one's ever... you've never blown up, mate. Not a big fan of his. Coward. Backstabber. And irrelevant. Shouldn't have even bit. Mark, how much do you oil up? How much to oil you up, says Martin. Yeah, keep dreaming, mate. I was on my Instagram yesterday, though, and Thogden replied, and then someone said, have you got an OnlyFans? I had to like it. Not about me, about Thogden. But yeah, JJ Okocha, I mean, we this is what I grew up with. I feel like the streets forget players like that. Ginola, Letitia, Robert, Okocha, King Clancy. These players were just playing for crap teams, but producing moments of brilliance. It was a great time. But Okocha was fantastic. I mean, if we had Okocha now playing for Villa, he'd be like Morgan Rogers twice the player, and he was playing for Bolton. We were spoilt in them days. The individuality has died in football. That's the problem. And it needs to come back. And that's coaches, that is. That's coaches obsessing about system and strategy and passing lanes and the individual. Look at Grealish, what he was at Villa and what he is at Man City. That should have been a yellow card. Yes, Tanish. Gibbs White there took... Doku out. Should have been a yellow card. Surprised it wasn't. And he got it. Yeah, good refereeing. Ireland, France rugby. Going to be epic, Mark, says Brian. What time is the rugby on today? I mean, I've paid no attention to it. 2:15. Scotland against Wales and England, Italy. Tomorrow. I think Ireland, Dublin today is going to be brilliant. I lived in Dublin for 3.5 years, and end of January to mid March was always good for the rugby, especially when they're at home. Don't forget the Wednesday 90s team, Hurst, Bright, Warhurst, Waddle. Wednesday had a great team, beat United in the League Cup. I liked Penelope, I liked that Sheffield Wednesday team. Played 2 cup finals against Arsenal, lost them both, and they were both very close as well. Oh, good cross into the box, Foden, but Haaland, surprisingly, not making the run. EPL editor says, any suggestions on what I should do in London and Manchester? I'm seeing Chelsea against Spurs and City versus Leicester for spring break. Thanks. London, you're spoilt for choice, EPL. I mean, you are literally spoilt to choice. If I was in London and I had a couple of days, things I would do. I like walking around London. So, I mean, I'd happily walk the Thames from Tower Bridge to Westminster Bridge. And then I'd walk Westminster down to Trafalgar Square into Piccadilly Circus. I mean, that's going to take you a few hours. And then, you know, you're going to see Big Ben, you're going to see Tower Bridge, you're going to see the House of Parliament. You could have a stroll down to Buckingham Palace from Trafalgar Square. So, yeah, I like walking around London, yeah. But there's so much you could do. Like, you could go around, like, East End London, get yourself to the Bell Inn, where Jack the Ripper used to drink and all that. You know, there's National History Museum. Although I was disappointed with that last time. It's fell off. Start, bench, sell. Bergkamp, Zola and David Silva. I would sell Silva, I would bench Bergkamp, and I would start Zola. Can you please say Damo, Arsenal are washed from Riz, says Sit H37. Thank you to EPL Editor. Thank you to Brian Dale. Thank you very much. City have only looked good against lower teams this season, says Tay. Well, Forest are just hard to break down. They're not a good watch. I know why I don't watch them very often. They're not a good watch, but I think there's a... I was going to say there's an Italianness to this side. They might score now. And into the box. Good block. Body's on the line. There's an Italianness to it, but I think there's also a Portuguese-ness to it, isn't it? Because it's Nuno. They're just very, very hard to break down. Guinness Zero may as well be pissing up a downpipe, says Thomas. He's not a fan. Early 2000 Leeds team had ballers. Rio, Woodgate, Viduka, Kewell and Smith. Robbie Fowler as well. Lee Bowyer. Who else played for them as well? They had bloody loads of players. Loads. Robinson in goal. What was that Irish left back? Hart. Used to score loads of free kicks. Leeds could have been... Here we go. Oh no, Edison's there. Leeds could have been... Leeds were on the verge of a dynasty. The problem was Ridsdale just spent too much money and fucked them. There was a time where Leeds looked like they were going to be brilliant. And you know what makes me laugh about Rio? At fucking Leeds, he loved it. He was there jumping on everyone's shoulders. He loved it at Leeds. And then he comes to United and he's like, United. But he bloody loved it at Leeds. So did Alan Smith, to be fair. Sheffield Wednesday brings memories of 2 Bruce headers. Yes, Andy, yeah. Why do you English have so many hyphenated surnames, says Parker? Don't know. 31 minutes gone. Oh, that's got to be a yellow card there. Gonzalez, get your card out. Yeah. Well done. 100%. Yeah, definitely a yellow. Cross into the box, back post, and a goal kick. One of my mates has just messaged me saying, if Haaland scores today, I'll lose my shit. Oh, he's a Forest fan, that's why. Come on, City. Bit of a shame, actually. I'm enjoying the football, but it's lovely weather in the UK today. It's really, like, quite warm. Always used to get this in Ireland. St Patrick's Day would always be sunny. Remember sitting out on O'Neill's near the Molly Malone statue. St Patrick's Day in Dublin is something to be experienced. I'm sure it's the same in New York. It's crap in the UK. It's just a normal working day. But St Patrick's Day living in Dublin was great. It could fall on, like, a Monday. And then you'd be in a bar at 10:30, and it's a bit like Christmas, St Patrick's Day, but in a drinking sense. Like, nightclubs are open at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it'll be like a Tuesday. It's just a really brilliant day, I think. That was one of my favourite days living in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day. It's just great. I remember one weekend, I think it fell on a Monday. So I was out Friday night, out Saturday night, and then went out Sunday night because St. Patrick's Day was Monday. And then I think I phoned in sick on the Tuesday. Mark, I know it's early, but what's your score predictions for the United game? Tomorrow? Mate, look, if I had a magic wand, is he busy? Let's get the game called off. That game tomorrow only benefits Arsenal. It's got no benefit to us at all. I really can't stand the Glazers and Ineos, and I'd love the game to get called off because it would really terrify them. But from a purely footballing point of view, we can't rotate our team, and we've got a massive game on Thursday. So if that game didn't get played, the likes of Bruno, Agate, and everybody else would get a day off. And so I don't even want to play the game tomorrow. I'm like, this is just fatigue. We don't need it, but obviously, you know, it will get played. Dixon says, start, bench, sell, Santa Cruz, JJ Okocha or Adel Tarabat. I'd sell Santa Cruz, bench Tarabat, and start JJ Okocha. And just for the laugh, Dixon's second name is Mias. Mark, should Amrim change his system at 60 minutes if it don't work and he has a crap bench, which went in previous systems? Is ridiculous. He shouldn't change his system at all. Mark, are you doing a watch along for the Sidemen charity match? You're welcome back to Ireland for St. Patrick's Day anytime. I'm back on Wednesday, a week on Wednesday. I'm doing a show. Can't wait. I lived in Ireland, like, used to come back a lot, and then I hadn't been for about 5 years. But the last couple of years, I get over there quite a lot now. And if I ever had the money, I would probably get an apartment in Dublin over London. Because you've got to go where your heart is, hasn't you? And like Dublin to me is just very personal. I'm not Irish, but it's where I grew up, really. I moved there sort of when I was 18, and I left at like 22. So my most formative years as a man were in Dublin. So it's the city I feel the most connection to. But I am doing a watch along, yes. I know it's early, done that from Gabby. Irish left back. This is Redback Spider. Paddy O'Furniture. What do you think about Quaresma when he was younger? Do you think he's underrated? I remember Quaresma was going to be like the next Figo, wasn't he? But how many players, give me some names in the chat of players that were going to be the next. I always think Adrian of Brazil was going to be the next thing. There was that Denilson of Brazil as well. I think he went to Betis for about stupid money. Like Denilson went to Betis for stupid money. Like it was a shitload of money at the time. Yeah, he never really amounted to anything. Pato, another one, yeah. Fekir is a good one as well. Renato Sanchez, yes. Rabel Morrison, of course. Balotelli could have been good. Lindelof, no, he was never the next big thing, to be fair. Bojan, yeah, played for Stoke. Dos Santos, yes. Played for Spurs, didn't he? Yeah. João Felix is a good one as well, Torsten, yeah. Rolf Harris, I don't think he, not the right thing. Not the right thing. Janusai in a United sense, yes. That Denilson one, I am going to Google this because it was really interesting. Denilson fee to Real Betis. Yeah, in 1998, listen to this, 1998, so 27 years ago, Betis paid 21.5 million to sign Denilson from Sao Paulo. They broke the world record for a transfer fee at the time. Betis. I mean, that's the equivalent of, fuck knows, 100 million now? But they can bloody find 100 million for Anthony then. Yeah. Unbelievable. Start, bench, sell, Keane, Robson, Charlton. I can't do that, though, Friday Night Whites, because I didn't watch Robson, and I certainly didn't watch Charlton, so I can't do a start bench sell on players I didn't watch. It's not fair. Still 0-0 here. Robbie's got it right again. Draw. Man City are really struggling to break this lot down at the moment. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. I'm doing the 3 o'clocks. It's going to be a bit of an interesting 3 o'clocks game, actually, because Brighton, the 3 o'clock games are as follows. You've got Liverpool against Southampton, so it's about how many. And then you've got... hold on. Doku. Look at the numbers they've got back, but he goes into the box and Forest clear it. Yeah, you got Brighton Fulham at 3 o'clock, Palace Ipswich at 3 o'clock, and Liverpool Southampton at 3 o'clock. But I'm also going to be watching the charity match as well, giving my honest opinion on stuff. I just hope it's close. I hope they win. YouTube All Stars. 5 minutes to go to half time. Man City look decidedly average, don't they? I mean, all right, they've had loads of the ball. I mean, what's the stats? 68%, but they've not had a shot on target. Defence against attack, but it's not a probing attack. It's a confident defence. I actually think if Forest get into Europe, this system will be fine. Might not be easy on the eye, but this wouldn't be a horrific way to play in Europe. A lot of teams play like this in Europe. Defensively rigid and counter. If they could get top 5, I don't know the ownership model, and I don't know how it works, and I don't know whether we've got any people who know it. But he has spent a lot of money, Mavropanos, isn't it? And they've had problems with FFP because he wants to spend money. But if they got Champions League football, that's 80 million quid of pure revenue, and you'd expect them to add to what they've got. And I agree with Brandon Harris, they wouldn't have the depth. But if you could bring 3 or 4 players in of, you know, sort of Brentford quality, I mean, you don't... I think people these days get lost on, we're in the Champions League, we've got to go and spend 70 million on a player. I don't think you do. You look at the Fulhams and you look at the Brentfords and you look at the Brightons and you look at the Bournemouths. It's not always about buying 60, 70 million pound players. You're better off bringing in, if you've got 80 million to spend, you're better off getting 3 or 4 players in for that. But I don't know. I don't know whether they would spend in the summer, but I think there is an opportunity for ambitious clubs to be progressive. If you can get in the Champions League, and then staying in it's going to be the problem, isn't it? Do you think moves between the big 6 rivals will return, says Tanishk? The traditional big six, yeah. I think Man United could easily end up selling players to a Chelsea, etc. I don't know whether we'd see Arsenal to Man City at the moment. I agree with Dizzy, you don't need world-class players, you need decent players and a great system. Dries makes a good point. The question will be, can Forest hold on to some of their players? Gibbs White, Murillo, Milinkovic, these are all good players. They've got a midfielder, I think he's injured at the moment, isn't he? They've got a midfielder that's quite good. If he's playing, I'm going to look alright, Pratt. I'm trying to think who it is. Not Sangari. I don't think it's Dominguez. I mean, I don't watch them enough to know, but I'm sure they've got a midfielder that's really good. Is it Danilo? Yeah, might be him. There he is, Mavropanos. I tell you what, I don't want to say it, but we're all thinking it. As long as he's happy. Can you see a Forest or a Bournemouth challenging Liverpool, Arsenal, City for the Premier League title in the next decade? No, Lee. I think that's... no. I think title winning is going to be a one-off or a big build. It's sustainability, isn't it? You know, they get, what, 35,000 here. Bournemouth get 10,000. You need a, you know, sustainability has to be built up on a big club, unfortunately. Thank you, Tanis. I just watched Rowan Armstrong's travel vlog, says Sit. And in 2011, Chelsea broke the British transfer record fee of 50 million for Torres from Liverpool. Yeah, so 10 years before that, Denilson went to Betis for 21 million. Chelsea's last winning Champions League squad wasn't the best, says Lachlan. Need Goldbridge ball, says Reese. Yeah, I have got a Sidemen watch-along set up, Binny. I'll push you over to it when this finishes. Well, a good question there. Do you need to be a good team to win the Champions League? No. I still think that look, Italy did it in World Cups before. Greece did it in the Euros. Who was the last team to win a major tournament in Europe by not actually being a great team? Inter did it, didn't they, with Jose? I mean, they were a good team, but they weren't purist football, were they? I mean, Real Madrid did it, didn't they? They weren't considered to be favourites to win it, and they went and won about 3 years ago. They won it, didn't they, by just grinding their way through. I think in club football you can do it. Which is, you know what? Here's a prime example. They won't do it, but Arsenal could win the Champions League. And people will say they can't win the Champions League. They can. They've got a good defence. They've got a good midfield. And they lack goals, but they could grind it. They could. People write them off, but they're not going to win the league, but they could do the Champions League. Everyone's laughing now. To the lad Andrew, answer is never, says Thunderbolt. And Sam says, half-time. It's half-time here. Sam says, do you think Isak will leave Newcastle in the summer? If so, where do you see him going, says Sam. I think if Isak is going to leave Newcastle, it will be for a considerable amount of money. And it's just about whether people want to do that. I was talking about this on the United stand this morning. The transfer market is factually dropping off. If you try and sell outside the Premier League, you're in trouble if PSG, Real Madrid and Barcelona don't want your player. You're not going to get £100 million for Isak outside the Prem unless Real Madrid or PSG sniff. So that's the challenge. Now the risk is if Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea or Man City go, there's £120 million for Isak. Let's say he goes to Arsenal for 120 million quid. Liverpool could use that 120 million quid to bring in Osimhen or Gyökeres for half the price and then get another 2 players as well. I'm not saying that it's not worth doing, but I'm just saying that those big prices, they do come with a risk. Right, that's it. Okay. What club do you think will grow? Here's a good question from Thunderbolt. I'm going to have a stand up. What club What club do you think is gonna grow the most in the next 5 to 10 years? People are going to be in the comments of this video going, I came back here in 2035 and you were right. What club's going to grow the most in the next 5 to 10 years? I agree with Brian Joseph in relation to Barcelona. I think they will bounce back. And in the Premier League, it's a great question, you know. It's a great question. So much depends. Look, Newcastle, to me, should have done it. But obviously FFP has hindered them. I think you've got to have a fan base. Newcastle have got one, Villa have got one, Spurs have got one, and then you've got the traditional Chelseas, Arsenals, Man Uniteds, Liverpools. So I don't see anybody like a Brighton or a Fulham or a Forest or a Bournemouth. I don't see it being them. Man United should be the club. I should be saying Man United. Like, they've had a shit 10 years and it should be Man United. But the way we're being run at the moment, I just don't see it. So Chelsea, I'm just surprised they've never gone to a bigger stadium. I'm amazed by Chelsea because this has been 20 years, Stamford Bridge moving, and they've never done it. And in that 20 years, you've seen Arsenal go from Highbury to the Emirates, and we've seen Spurs do what they've done at White Hart Lane. And I don't understand why Chelsea haven't built or done something with their stadium, because they could easily have a 60,000 capacity stadium and that would make them, you know, a bigger club. So I don't like sitting on the fence, but I don't really have a definitive answer of which club's going to grow the most in the next 5 to 10 years. I think in the worldwide market, Man United aren't growing. Like, we're not attracting new fans. We're not. We have a lot of fans, but we're not growing. I think Liverpool are in a good position. Arsenal, as much as you'll be laughing again, are in a good position. Villa and Newcastle potentially could do it, but you've got to start. You've got to bridge the revenue gap. Two clubs with two really ambitious owners who really want to spend money, but are hindered by FFP saying your revenue is low. So they've got to get that revenue up. Now, if you can get yourself into Club World Cups and the Champions League every year, that revenue will start to go up. Now, Chelsea are sort of doing that. So for me, I would say Chelsea. And that might surprise people, but I took the piss out of Chelsea a little bit at the start. But when you've got owners like we've got at United, I'd rather have a bit of a Pratt owner who is ridiculously ambitious than Pratt owners who are business people. So I think Chelsea at the moment, unless, and I don't think Arsenal or Liverpool are going anywhere. You're already, I'm not dissing you. You're already high, unless Villa and Newcastle can find a way to get that money into the club. Of course, the elephant in the room is Man City. If Man City get through these charges, they're going to get bigger and bigger because they're already making a lot of money. Any protests on tomorrow and where to meet for the protests, says Lee Alder. It's the Tollgate pub and it's 3 p.m. Thank you very much for that. So 0-0 here at half time. We are live for 3 o'clock games. I am doing the charity match. I've always been envious of Spencer and Stephen Tries commentating on a charity match. So I'll be giving the alternative view. And I'm not going to be meeting everybody in the bar afterwards and shaking their hands, so I can probably be a little bit more honest. I'm looking forward to it. Having managed in it for the last couple of years, it was challenging. So to be able to sit back and just chill with a cup of tea watching it with you lot, whilst also keeping an eye on the 3 p.m. games, I'm looking forward to that. Wrexham, Birmingham should grow, says Blake. I think the problem Wrexham and Birmingham have got is that they will face the same problem Newcastle and Villa have got when they get in the Prem. Their revenue will not be there. So they're not going to be able to leapfrog Newcastle and Villa. I think Wrexham and Birmingham can get into the Premier League and stay in the Premier League, which is something nobody else seems to do at the moment. But they will still get hindered by the inability to chuck money in. Watch out for Paris FC, not PSG, in the next 10 years, says Brock. I have heard of them, yes. And AD says, If you could create your perfect player, thank you very much for the super chats, by the way. You can do that through the $. AD says, if you could create your perfect player heading left foot, right foot, dribbling, passing and pace, who would you pick in each attribute? Oh, you know what? Left foot would have to be Messi, wouldn't it? But I always liked James Rodriguez. I think he had a good left foot. Probably still has. I don't think he's had it taken off. Right foot, I mean, I think... The thing is, I'll say one player and then people will say, what about Zidane? I think dribbling-wise, Zidane... Look, I think Gascoigne was brilliant, but Zidane was... His strength, size and agility was just incredible. And his first touch. I think R9 as well, for a striker, was unbelievable before his injuries. Pace. At pace dribbling. R9 was very good. Ronaldo, Cristiano, very good. Messi, very good. Thierry Henry, very good. They're probably four of the best at pace dribblers I've ever seen. But look, you know, I'll say one thing, you'll say another. What I think is sad is that we don't have players like that in the modern game. And I keep saying this, you know, give me your 10 best goals from distance. You're going to be going back 10 years. Give me your 10 best dribblers of the ball at pace. You're going to be going back 10 years. We're just not producing these type of edge-of-the-seat players anymore. We're just not. And I blame people like Pep Guardiola for that. I think they've coached it out of the game. I was having a drink a few weeks ago with a mate, and his lad's really good. I think he's about 7. And an academy has wanted to sign him up. And he was asking me my thoughts on it. And I said, mate, you've got to do what you think's right. But personally, I wouldn't do it. And he was like, why? And I said, because they'll coach everything out of him. They'll coach everything out of him. And look, Seb plays football, under 8s. And the quality is good. And they enjoy it. And I don't think being in an academy at 7 really is going to massively cost somebody who's 10. But in that 7 to 10 years, they'll probably enjoy it and they won't get stuff coached out of them. I've seen a lot of coaching at clubs these days, and it is very, very technical. I think they coach it out of them. I think they coach the ability to shoot from distance. I think they coach it out of them to dribble at people. I would resist putting my kid into an academy, which is difficult because you go, oh my God, my lad's playing for under 8s Man United. But I just think football's enjoyment, and if you're good enough, you'll still be good enough when you're 10, 11, 12. Will 115 affect other clubs in the Premier League, says Thunderbolt? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I can only remember one transfer between United and Liverpool, says Andy Atherton. I don't think I can remember one. What two clubs don't transfer players between each other very often? I would say definitely Man United and Liverpool. I feel like Everton and Liverpool have done it. Michael Owen wasn't direct. No, it was obviously Newcastle, wasn't it? Liverpool, Real Madrid, Newcastle, Man United. Paul Ince was Man United into Liverpool. I mean, like directly go from Liverpool to Man United or Man United to Liverpool. Barcelona, Madrid, Figo. I think that was direct. Nick Barmby went from Everton to Liverpool. I think Everton to Liverpool is more acceptable than Man United to Liverpool because horribly, but brutally, Everton are not as good as Liverpool. So you might get a player at Everton that goes, I don't give a shit about the rivalry. I want to go and play for a bigger club. So that might happen more often. Beardsley, Liverpool to Everton, maybe, yeah. That's what I mean. I feel like it has happened. Celtic to Rangers or Rangers to Celtic. I don't know whether that's happened directly. I remember years ago, was it Mo Johnston? But I don't know whether that was direct or not. He was a striker. But I can't think of a direct Liverpool to United or United to Liverpool. I can't think of a direct one. Chelsea Spurs. I feel like that's happened. feel like Chelsea Spurs has happened. Or Spurs Chelsea. I feel like Chelsea Spurs happened quite recently. I'm thinking Timo Werner, but that wasn't direct, was it? It was via Leipzig. I like these sort of questions. Yeah. Spurs to Arsenal, Spurs, yeah. I mean, that never should happen. Arsenal to Spurs and Spurs to Arsenal shouldn't happen, but I think that's happened a bit as well. Hello says, I'm missing manager Goldbridge in today's match. Yeah, but then we get to do a watch-along, mate, so I'm looking forward to that. And Seb wants to watch it, so it'll be good fun. He wants the Sidemen to win. I want YouTube All-Stars to win, so that'll be good fun. Arsenal to Chelsea, Ashley Cole. That happens a lot, doesn't it? William Gallas. Yeah, Chelsea to Arsenal. But London's a big place. We're in London, aren't we? To you and me, London, you'd go, why would you go from Arsenal to Chelsea? But when you live in London, there are districts of London, aren't they? That's why NLD, Spurs to Arsenal, is far more rivalry than Chelsea-Arsenal. Oh, my God. Talk about depressing. Who is watching Wolves-Everton at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night? I mean, that is going to be low viewing figures, isn't it? I mean, I reckon if I did a live watch-along at 8 o'clock of me having a bath, we'd get more views than that. Fun fact, it's Phil Chisnell, 1964, the only player to transfer directly from Liverpool to Man United. There we go, AJ Tills. Legend. See you at the show on Wednesday, week on Wednesday, mate. Got a shout out this morning. Mark Hodgson says, name 3 teams beginning with M that Paul Ince played for. I don't know whether he played for them. I know he coached them. Well, Inter Milan is an I. Manchester United. He coached Macclesfield and MK Dons, but I don't know whether he played for them, so I'll go with those, Hodgson. But yeah, I like this about the community. Well done. I like a little bit of, you know, we've spoken about JJ Kocher. We've spoken about which club will be the biggest grower in the next 5 years. Transfers between rivals and how often they happen. Should that have been a sending off for the foul on Foden? Yeah, he's followed through and he knows what he's doing. I'll definitely say that. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Reason for is that we're on 1.3 million on the channel, but we're actually on 309,000, and we're only 400 subscribers away from 1.31 or 310,000. So get involved. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Lovely community. Everybody's welcome on That's Football. It's my escape. That's Football. I mean, United stand obviously, but That's Football is more about therapy for me because it's my love for football. So they're 2 very separate entities, and I don't know what I'd do without this community and the ability to just talk about general football. Because over the last few years, it's not been, I'll be blunt. You pick your team, you stick with your team, and that's the way it should be. But if I'm being absolutely blunt, the best football I've watched over the last 5 years, less than 5% of it's been United. So if I didn't watch other football, I wouldn't get to watch good football. Because United's football, well, I could say 10 years, it's very shit. It's very hard to watch. You watch a Liverpool or an Arsenal or a Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth. They play much better football than United. It's hard to watch. Gillingham fans are going, you don't know what you're on about. You're spoilt. Worst transfer in Premier League history, Lukaku from Inter Milan to Chelsea for 97.5 million. He was terrible, says Constantine. Where is Lukaku now? I've got a theory, right? If Romelu Lukaku was 5'10" and average weight, strength, would he be a footballer? And what level would he play at? I think he'd still... We were talking about this at the pub just before Christmas. He's injured himself having a shot. The pound, look at him. Pull your sock. Look at him. He's running along like this. Dominguez for Forest. He's injured himself on the volley. He's at Napoli. We were talking about this at the pub. I mean, you know what? Pub chats, conversation. It's almost it's a show in itself. And we were having this chat. It's a bit like, you know, a typical pub chat is... No, I can't tell that one. She'll go mad. You know, would you rather fight 100 angry chickens or a vegetarian polar bear? You know, things like that. But we were saying, if Romelu Lukaku was 5'10" and half the size physically, would he still play at the highest level? I said he'd probably still play in the Championship because he has got a good left foot and a finish. But his strength and height do cover up a lot of his very, very clear inadequacies. So I'd put him in the Championship without the strength and height. But he's still got a good finish on him. Rub says, I'd like to see a 5'10" Lukaku. Well, he'd get bullied by everybody else, wouldn't he? But it's only the same as Kyle Walker. If Kyle Walker didn't have his pace, again, he'd be playing for Preston North End. Here we go. We're on to another one now. Take one trait away from a player of your choice and put them in the Championship. I tell you what, take Anthony's left foot from him and he'd be a bloody postman. That's the only thing he'd be delivering. Anthony without a left foot, bloody hell. You may as well put him in the sea with the dolphins. He'd be fucking useless. Howder says, how is it possible to make a kit like this for Man City? Someone must have woke up with a terrible hangover by drawing it, says Howder. The Anthony one's not fair, though, because if you took a right foot away from Ashley Young, he'd be shit as well. You can't take their foot away. You've got to take away pace, passing, shooting, tackling. You can't take away their foot. You can't take away their feet, because that's like taking a right-footed player's feet off. You know, it's not fair. You can take away passing, heading, pace, tackling, shooting, dribbling. See, someone like De Bruyne, if you took away De Bruyne's shooting ability, he'd still be in the Premier League because of his passing ability, you know, his stamina, etc. like that. I think a lot of wingers... I mean, someone in the chat said take pace away from Rashford. We did 18 months ago. Trent without passing... You'd lose a lot. I mean, he'd still have shooting, though, wouldn't he? What about Adama Traore without his strength? That's a good one, you know. He'd still have... You know what? I actually think that's very good. I think Adama Traore without strength, all right, he'd still have the pace, but I do think that is a massive part of his game. I think you're right. I think Adama Traore would be in the Championship without the strength. Because, yeah, he's got the pace still, but I do think fundamentally that is a big part of his game. Rub says, Mason Mount, you don't need to take anything. Jason March says, Phil Chisnell, Liverpool to Man United. 8 players have done Liverpool to United switch, says Redback. Game is very much the same as before. Corner to Forest. I'm really enjoying this show. The watch-along's not been great, but I am enjoying the show. Someone said Rasmus without his shooting. Well, literally, that's what we're seeing. He doesn't get any shots, so we can actually see that Rasmus without shooting very much does look like a championship player at the moment, to be fair. Yeah, if you want to see what a striker's like without shooting, put them in a Man United shirt. Take away that goal from Cristiano Ronaldo his mate gave him all those years ago, he wouldn't even be a professional footballer, says Tumbleweed. And the Gimp from Pulp Fiction says, hi Mark, outside the Prem, Hazard is the worst transfer they ever spent. Overall £250 million, including wages. It's a shocker. Mate, you know what? Eden Hazard to Real Madrid was a flop. You know, it doesn't mean he's a bad player, but it was a flop. Fernando Torres to Chelsea was a flop. World class at Liverpool, flop. I don't think people like to associate the word flop with players that were world class, but you can look. Alexis Sanchez to Man United, flop. At Arsenal, world class. Ruddy says it's not Adama Traore's strength, it's the baby oil. Suarez without his teeth, says Daniel Lee. Bradley Clout says Grealish without the diving. James Humphrey, welcome to the Members Club. Take away Anana's CV, says AGM. Man United, actually, we're very good at taking away what people are good at. I mean, Anana was a ball-playing goalkeeper, not anymore. What about Harry Maguire without heading? That's a good one. Championship, or would he still be a Prem centre-back? I think it's a good one. I think he might be a Championship centre-back without his heading ability, because I've always said it, that he's probably one of the best aerial players in the Prem. Yeah, we've done Kyle Walker without his pace, GB. I mean, that literally started the debate. Take away Mark's humour, he would be doing watch-alongs for Division 2, says Rub. No, I still think without the humour, which some people would say he hasn't got any anyway, the football knowledge would be the thing that still keeps me Champions League. Ferdinand without Vidic. Hey, I like that one, actually. I actually do. I do. I think you're a genius, mate. Casemiro without legs. Again, another player that lost something very important when he came to Man United. Watch along for the Sidemen charity game is after this. Arnaf, yes. Goldbridge without the morning sneeze. I don't do them as much as often now. I don't know what's changed. Like first month or so moving into this house, I was sneezing every morning show. And then, Bernardo Silva shot, Andy Atherton. Oh, yellow card. Definite yellow card. Nunez on Gibbs White. One of them was going to get... I mean, I applaud both players here. One of them was going to get a yellow there. It was one of those. They were both sprinting towards it. And whoever got there first, the other one was going to get a yellow. Bojan with confidence, says Alusa. Baby or King, Adama or Diddy, says Friday Night Whites. Thanks for all your super chats. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. We're closing in on 1.31 million subscribers. So thank you for everyone who's getting involved. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Oh, I know where it'll be. No retreat, no agenda, says Steve Bull to Wolves from West Brom backfired a bit. Did he go there? Matthew says, YouTube All-Stars are going to be missing you today, Mark. I think they're going to get the win. I think they're going to win today. I really do. Have you seen the news on Stuart Pearce, says SK? Yes. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's changed from... Was he not flying back and the plane had to reroute? So hopefully he's all right. Goldbridge without an altercation holiday, says 4pf. Amber, let me check. Did I miss yours? Diego Costa without his physicality, says Constantine. Yes. Reverse it. Add a foot to Martinez and we've got Vidic, says Vigo. And Anana, but he can keep his traits, says Quinton. If Anthony was a postman, he'd be able to deliver letters to the houses on the left, says Jason Marsh. Trying to find... Here we go. Amber says, Man United should recruit from the Championship more. I don't watch it enough to know, mate. I don't, but... Zlatan without Zlatan, says Sam Hodge. And name 5 father and sons that have played in the Premier League. Ince, Schmeichel. I want to say Kluivert, but I don't know whether Patrick Kluivert did play. Haaland, definitely. Wright Phillips and Ian Wright. I don't think Kluivert did. Have I done it then? Haaland, Wright Phillips and Wright. Ince, Schmeichel, and... I don't think Patrick Kluivert played in the Prem. Oh, good one. Jason's just helped me out. Delap. Rory and Liam. Kluivert did play as well. There we go. I've done it. I probably got... You know what? That's me. I didn't get the simple ones and I went and got one of the most niche ones. Kluivert. Yeah. Stephen Alex Bruce is a good shout as well. So it's a very intelligent chat today. Make sure you subscribe. You learn a lot here. What about Savage? I mean, yeah, well, I suppose technically it probably is. Thomas Muller, only attribute was his head, says David. And AGM says you could flip it around and add an attribute like Diaby at Arsenal with fitness. I like it. I like it. So I will give you one. I mean, imagine Robban with a right foot. Pretty good with a left. Harry Maguire with pace. Nunez with finishing, says Sam. I mean, Darwin Nunez with finishing. Imagine if you gave Lewandowski's finishing to Nunez. He's a chance magnet. Very good. Chris Wood with pace, I think would be even better, yes. Man United without the debt. Yeah, good one. Like it. Half an hour to go here. I mean, mate, come on. This game... Not great. Not great at all. Robbie's bloody going to do it again, isn't he? A draw. How does he do it? How does he do it? I can't speak. Cross comes in and cleared up. I mean, to be fair, Forest could still win it. I mean, Man City haven't done enough to win it for me. But I'll be honest, at the moment, this has got a 0-0 draw written all over it. Wan-Bissaka without 1v1 defending, says Hassan. Denzel, thanks for super chat. Crouch with Adama Traore's pace. Whew, the gimp from Pulp Fiction. That would be a good watch. Some other flops from years back, says Glyn Williams, adjusted for inflation. Chris Sutton to Chelsea, yes. Oh, Franny Jeffers to Arsenal. What a bag of shit he was. And Duncan Ferguson to Newcastle. Yeah, I'm liking this. De Bruyne's coming on. And I think Mamouche is coming on as well. Not a bad couple to bring on, is it? Not a bad pair. Lovely play by Dominguez into Gibbs-White. He's going to go himself. And it's blocked. Rasmus with service, says Brian. Thank you. I really applaud that, Glyn Williams, actually. I always like Premier League heritage, and they were some real Premier League heritage flops there. Chris Sutton to Chelsea, Franny Jeffers to Arsenal from Everton, and Duncan Ferguson to Newcastle. Trying to think of a few others that just didn't work. Ross Barkley to Chelsea from Everton, that's another one. Players to win the Champions League, the World Cup, and the Ballon d'Or, says George. Champions League, World Cup and Ballon d'Or. I would say Zidane. I've never been asked that before, George. World Cup, Champions League and Ballon d'Or. So I'm thinking French players, Spanish players, maybe Brazilian. Yeah, I'd say Zidane. I suppose Messi, yeah, because he's won the World Cup. That's the easy one. See, again, I always go for the hard ones. Who's won the World Cup, the Champions League, and the Ballon d'Or? Rodri's not done it, has he? Spanish. Did Iniesta or Xavi win the Ballon d'Or? Did Cannavaro win the Champions League? Yeah, it's a good question, that. Diego Delo with a brain, says Perk. Vardy without Red Bull, says Ryan Dixon. Thank you very much. Kept in. Hudson-Odoi needs some support. Finds it with Wood. He needs some support now. Still on the attack. Game's starting to open up a little bit. Hudson-Odoi. Oh, is it? What a save by Edison. What a save. Brilliant save. Should have been 1-0 to Forest. Hudson-Odoi cut inside, hit the shot. Edison got something on it and palmed it onto the post. Brilliant save. Game is starting to open up. Still 25 minutes to go. Drinkwater to Chelsea. Leicester to Chelsea is not a good route, is it? Look at bloody... can't even remember his bloody name now. Who's the one who went in the summer? Peacock. I can't remember his name. Double barrel. See, it's that bad a move. I've erased his name from my bloody footballing vocabulary. What was his name? It's a double barrel name, isn't it? Dewsbury Hall. There, yeah. Forgot about him. Such a bad move for you, mate. Check your bank balance, but I can't remember your bloody name. Although, Kante, Leicester to Chelsea, you can't say that was bad. Doku, Man City have got to start doing something now. Very lucky not to be 1-0 down. I want to see that Edison save again. Chilwell, yeah, I wouldn't say Chilwell to Chelsea went well. I mean that was very injury prone, wasn't it? Haaland without his Viking blood, says Howder. If this stays a draw and Chelsea win, they're third, says Max. And guess who you were playing? Leicester. Good play by Kovacic into Doku. Man City are just so crap creatively now, aren't they? I tweeted it. Guaranteed top answer will be some Man City fan going 14th. Yeah, that's football. Andy Carroll, enough said, says Redback Spider. I missed the replay of the Edison save. Foden's coming off here. Oh, Anana would. You're right. No, Anana would not make that save. He can't get down that quick. I've said this about Anana before. Whatever you think about him as a goalkeeper, he can't get down for those low shots. Apparently, Mini Minter rang Anana up and said, we're looking for a couple of dodgy goalkeepers so we can get loads of goals in the charity match. And Anana was interested, but Amram said, no, you've got a match tomorrow. So they went with XQC again instead. Yeah, no, seriously though, he's too muscular. Goalkeepers shouldn't be muscular. It's about agility. You look at David De Gea, big guy, ain't muscly, because you want to be like Stretch Armstrong. As a goalkeeper, it's about how quick he can get down, innit? And I've always said Anana's too top heavy. He's too muscly. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. It was a great save by Edison, who I actually think, to be fair to Edison, I'll always call out quality, and I've always said about Edison, I don't think Edison's that good. I think because he plays for Man City, you're not going to be that busy, but made a good save. Ray Carl says, without being a United fan, who do you like more, R9 or Ronaldo? I love R9 personally, but Ronaldo is sick. Look, red tinted glasses, I'm always going to go with Cristiano. But what I will say is, I'll always go with Cristiano over R9 because United. But I remember that game. I remember watching it on the TV when he scored the hat-trick at Old Trafford and got applauded off by the whole ground. That's class. I love it when away fans can swallow a defeat and applaud greatness. And he's one of the most exciting strikers I've ever seen, because a striker is about scoring goals, holding the ball up, positional sense. A striker's very rarely about all those things and the ability to get the ball and run past 4 or 5 players. And I don't know whether R9 actually gets the gravitas he deserves. Everyone goes, oh, R9, R9, but they don't actually analyse his game enough for me. This is a striker that could do everything Shearer or Haaland or anyone else could do, maybe even better, but he could also get the ball like Messi and run past 4 or 5 players. And I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that type of striker again. You just don't see anyone like that in the modern game. So he was an incredible player. The skill set, just, yeah. But you wouldn't be allowed to be. Can you imagine R9 in a Pep team? No, I don't want you to turn around and take people on. I want you to get the ball and play it back to De Bruyne, and we'll keep probing and playing the passing lanes. Great question, Ray. Oh, straight through the back of him. Ref's not even bloody looking. Wasn't even looking at the Gibbs-White foul. Twat. The game is definitely opening up now. Good interception. Could go either way. I'd rather see a team win it. I don't want to see a draw. Stoichkov was a good player, yeah. Ronaldinho with discipline, says Andrew. Very good player. Technically. Right, I'm going to sit down. You know it's time to sit down when I'm yawning. Ooh. Arsenal Man United at Old Trafford tomorrow will be on the United stand, and then Tuesday night we're back for the second legs in the Champions League. I still think Anfield, Liverpool, PSG will be quite interesting. Looks like Arsenal and Villa are going to go through on Wednesday. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid on Wednesday as well will be interesting as well. Gary says a draw still makes it interesting with who will get the Champions League spots. Well, we're about 15 minutes away from that. Okay. Definitely teams getting tired now. I think Forest in the second half, certainly in the last 10 minutes, that you can see they're not as many players back as there was. And I think that's opening the game up a little bit. Maybe they're being a little bit more on the front foot. What's that crap jumper that Pep's got on? That ain't fashion, mate. You look all right, Pratt. Does anybody like what Pep's wearing there? See me in it next week. How good was Van Basten? Says Blackgate. I don't know, actually, Van Basten. And I'll tell you why I don't know much about Van Basten. Because in 88, when he scored, for me, one of the best goals I've ever seen, I was under 10 in 88. And also, he was pretty much done by 90, wasn't he, injury-wise? And we had no access to European football. So that was in the late 80s. You probably got one Division 1, what the Premier League now is, game. You didn't get to watch football. So I didn't see Van Basten. I think he retired at 26. I didn't see enough of him to know. So I'd be lying if I said, oh yeah. But that's a foul on the edge of the box for City. How was it growing up in the 80s and 90s as a United fan, Mark? Says X3. I'd say, look, as the 80s, I was a young lad. You know, I was under 10, like I say. So for me, it was the only time you're in your house was if it was raining or it was dinner time. Everybody was down the local park playing football, you know, on your bikes, playing in the woods, stuff like that. You were always out. So football really was match of the day, teletext, etc. And then the 90s with the Prem, that's when Man United got good as well. We got a little bit more football. But 80s was all Liverpool as well. I liked the FA Cup in the 80s. That was the biggest game. But yeah, there wasn't much on telly. There wasn't much on telly anyway, but there wasn't much football on TV. I think the only game that was televised was a Sunday at 3 o'clock on ITV. And you could get Millwall against Everton, and that would be the game. One game a week. But in the 90s, you got Channel 4 Italian football as well. Italia 90 sort of blew it up. De Bruyne, straight at the keeper. I am watching the Sidemen game at 3 o'clock, Nesef. Yes, we've got it should be set up on the channel already. Thanks for all your super chats today, by the way. How does a draw make it look at the moment? As it stands, it's looking all right. It would give Chelsea the opportunity to go into third. It would give Newcastle, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham and Villa an opportunity to close up. Remember, Brighton are playing Fulham. I think that's the game at 3 o'clock. Obviously, Liverpool are playing Southampton, but Brighton-Fulham's quite interesting because if one of those can win, and I think Brighton will, but then again, you know, Fulham, you just don't know with Fulham. You just don't know. You don't know. Live show in Dublin in the international break. If you live in Dublin and you fancy coming along, it will be a great night. If you fancy going to Dublin off the cuff, it will be great as well. It's in the live chat as well now. I've just pinned it for you. We've got Danny, lead singer from The Script, coming on stage, doing a bit as well. Shawn Michaels or Steve Austin, says Scrog. Always Shawn Michaels for me. Who would you rather, Rooney or Suarez? Rooney. The fact I don't like Suarez as a person helps as well. Letitia was class. He scored some great goals. I thought that was going to be a poem then. Letitia was class. He scored some great goals. MLT without his club. You know, I'm old enough to remember when Letitia was playing, and he did often get linked to Chelsea, but it never happened. What do you miss most about being a kid? Says AJ. Oh, just the innocence of what's to come, really. Playing with your Star Wars, building your Lego, playing on your Mega Drive. Down the park, jumpers for goalposts. Saturday lunchtime, bacon sandwich with ketchup. Saturday tea time, steak and chips. Noel's house party. But, you know what? I wouldn't go back. I don't believe in going back. That's why you should just enjoy the now. And hopefully you create memories in the now, don't you? Thinking back's not for, you know, there's a time for that in there. I always think my kids are creating memories that I had. Like, they'll just be different memories. I don't think it was just a different time. But kids of today will create the same things. I can't sit and say it's better. Who would you replace Anana with, says Patrick? Let me get my big long list out. A dustbin, bag of cement, a plastic bag in the wind. No. I think a lot of people talk about Costa from Porto. I think he'll end up at Man City. But I personally would replace Anana with a younger goalkeeper who's got the potential to be good in the next 18 months. Because I don't think you're going to sell Anana in the summer, so I would keep him and have an understudy young goalkeeper who gradually nudges him out. You know this Murillo? I know he's Brazilian, but has he played for Brazil yet? Because, I mean, how old is he? 22? He really should be getting in the Brazil team at some point. Well, looking like it's going to be a draw. Unless we get a late winner. I expected a little bit more urgency from Man City, but I just think they're struggling. I really do. They've not looked a goal threat at all. I mean, the best action of the game certainly was. And here we go. Elanga down the right-hand side. He's got a bit of space. Can he cut it back? Goes alone. Oh my God, it's Hudson-Odoi and he's scored. I thought it was Elanga because it was on the right wing. They've scored. Unbelievable. They just keep doing it. And they keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And they've done it again. What's going on? Absolutely incredible. I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless. I thought he'd hit the side netting for a start. I thought he'd done a Garnacho. But ball out to the right-hand side. He's miles onside. He's up against Vardiel. Stands him up. Drop of the shoulder. Keeper shouldn't get beat. That's why. That's why I'm surprised it's gone in. He should not get beat from there. Crap goal. Well, you know, that's very surprising because Edison's made a really good save and he should not. Front post glitch. That should not be a goal. Well, it is, but that should not go in. That's crap goalkeeping. But yet again, Nottingham Forest defying the doubters, of which I am one, and Man City defying logic. I did not think that this Man City side could be so inept at attacking. And in the 84th minute, it's 1-0 to Forest. What does that do for the league table? We'll have a look now. But, I mean, it's not over yet. But Man City heading towards their 10th loss of the season, are they? 9th. And Forest would be 4 points ahead of them. I'll tell you what. I think that this win for Forest, if they get it, could pretty much put them... Would. Good defending. Could put them in the... I mean, would they drop... If they win this game, would they drop out of the Champions League now? Seven points off 6th with this win. And it's not guaranteed that the likes of Newcastle are going to get results on Monday night at West Ham or Villa at Brentford. Points on the board. Who's the greatest striker of the last 25 years, says Dr. Timo. Although, I tell you what, cut back. Milinkovic clears it for a corner. Offside. Suspect says, why do you doubt Forest so much? Because, well, you should take it as a compliment. Like I said at the start of December, they'd be mid-table by Christmas. We are now into the middle of March and they are firmly in 3rd. And this is the brilliant thing about this Premier League season is that, all right, the relegation and the title are probably very predictable, but the top 4 race is just unpredictable. So unpredictable. And I'm not going to be on the right side of history on this one. I never would have put Forest or Bournemouth or Brighton or in a top 5 race. And it's good for the league. It's good for the league. I'd love to see a Bournemouth or a Forest in the Champions League. I think the keeper should save it. Dean, look, here's a Liverpool fan. Dean Hayes, I'm a Liverpool fan. Thanks for the super chat, Dean. I'm a Liverpool fan. But Forest are having an amazing season. The only team to beat Liverpool this season is Nottingham Forest as well. Best striker in the last 25 years. That's a tough one for me. That is a tough one. Because there's a few. And they're all quite different. You know, R9's got to be in there. Henry's got to be in there. I suppose you've got to put Shearer in there. Lewandowski's got to be in there. Yeah, there's a few. Would you class Ronaldo as a striker? It's not over yet, though. City could still find a way. De Bruyne. Edge of the box. Forest will clear it. Would you rather have Anana or Robert Sanchez of Chelsea, says Jahi? It's much of a much, mate, really. I'd rather stick with what you got. What was your first FA Cup final you remember, says Jason? The first one I remember watching, and it's in the book I wrote, is Coventry Spurs 87. Verbruggen to United, maybe Mark, says Riaz. Cost too much money. What do you think? Thoughts on Cena heel turn and The Rock, says Liam? It's just good entertainment, mate. It's crazy to think that only last season they were in a relegation battle and almost went down, says Flores. I have really got into the wrestling this year. I think it's because Seb likes it, though. I'd pay everything to watch the City downfall again, says Patrick. Heinze went from United to Liverpool. No, he didn't. He didn't play. He never played for Liverpool, Andy. He nearly did, but it didn't happen. He went to Real Madrid. It's crazy to think that the only last season they were in a relegation battle and almost went down. But look, ambitious owner wants to spend money. Shows what can be achieved. At what point do you to stop watch-alongs for Man City, says Linkster. Mate, I'll do more watch-alongs of Man City if they're going to lose. I don't like doing it when they win. Pina from Barcelona for Anana, says Fuhad. We're nearly into stoppage time here. Rob Always United says, it's funny how everyone is loving City's demise. Yeah, don't forget I'm going to be live at 3 o'clock for the 3 o'clock watch-alongs. Brighton Fulham's a very interesting one. Liverpool host Southampton. I mean, if you were picking a game to play between PSG, Southampton at home is the game, isn't it? But we have also going to be keeping an eye on the Sidemen charity game as well. Hopefully YouTube All-Stars can do it. I'm sure there will be some moments from that. How long's going to get added on? 4 minutes. But you know what? 4 minutes, 40 minutes, 400 minutes. Man City are going to do well to get back in this game because they've created nothing and Forest can sit in again now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they can't create chances. But they can't. Edge of the box. Kovacic! What a... Oh, I thought he'd scored. I actually thought he'd scored. Edge of the box. Sat up perfectly. Keeper was beat. Missed the target. Not far wide. Half a metre. Forest, Bournemouth are both relegation battling teams fighting for top four. Premier League is magic, only if they got their referees and media bias sorted, says Cinema Drunk. Pep's having a moan. Why aren't you at the charity match, says Shivan? Because I wasn't asked, mate. It's crazy to think that only last season done that one from Flores official. But we're doing a watch along. I'm an idiot. Heinze was close to joining them, says Andy. Well, you've only got 2 minutes for Bernardo Silva to score. I'm not even sure if he's still on the pitch, is he? I don't think you've got any minutes then. No, he's still on the pitch. It could still happen. But not with the ball in the far corner. And it's a corner to Forest. Chewbacca says, manager of the season has got to be Slot or Nuno. It's a toss-up. Well, let's do a poll. We've not done enough polls today. I don't think we've done a poll, which is amazing for That's Football. But we have been having some very good debates, so we can forgive that. Manager of the season. Player of the match has just been given to Hudson-Odoi. Debatable. I mean, goals. Basically, TNT just give it to a goal scorer. But he did. It was a good save by Edison. He did deserve another goal. Nuno or Slot? Who's your manager of the year? I'll tell you mine in a moment. One last throw of the dice. 30 seconds to go. Kovacic has got it. He's looking to probe. You've got to whip. You've got to put a cross in. No. Keeper's got hold of that. That will be it. A huge 3 points. Look at that league table. 9 losses this season for Manchester City. Only Newcastle in the top half have lost as many as that. Forest are going to be 4 points clear of Manchester City here in the middle of March. Chelsea could knock them down to 5th. And that is it. The final whistle goes. Another win for Nottingham Forest. They have got a rock-solid defence. The 3rd best defence in the league. Murillo and Milinkovic, absolutely brilliant again. They've scored less goals than Newcastle, but they are 7 points clear of Newcastle in 6th. And that race for Champions League football becomes more and more exciting as the pressure is thrown onto Newcastle and Bournemouth and Brighton and Fulham and Villa to see if they can close in. But Forest aren't letting go of their grip on the top 3. Another big win for them. They go to Ipswich next week. 51% of you would give Nuno manager of the year and 49% would give Slot. I'll tell you what, there's some skin. I agree, but what I would also say is Arne Slot surely deserves it for taking over a Liverpool side that wasn't even a title-winning side, not having any transfers. They've lost 1 game. But that's the enormity of what Nuno is doing here. Spurs must look at it and go, what the hell did we do getting rid of him so quick? But, yeah, well done. Very good win for them. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I am back live with you in about 20 minutes' time for the 3 o'clock games and the Sidemen charity watch-along, which I'm sure there'll be plenty of fun to be had watching that one. She's loving it. Edith, look at her. She's out tonight. She's going to be on it. She'll be offering all sorts. Look at her. She hasn't lost it. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll be back with you in 20 minutes, and I'm sure it'll be a very good watch-along for that as well. Take care. Speak to you in a bit.